Good morning students, welcome back to online class. It's a continuation of the 7th lesson. Today we are going to discuss change of state. What is the meaning of change of state? Already we have discussed the effects of temperature, the effects of heat energy. Already we have discussed what is change in state is needed. The process of changing of a substance from one physical state to another. One physical state to another. Physical state is nothing but solid, either a solid or liquid or in the gases, to the another state at a definite temperature is known as change of state. The process of changing of a substance from one physical state to another at a definite temperature is known as change of state. Is needed. The solid is changed into liquid state. The liquid is changed into the gaseous state. This is only is taken as what? Change of state. For example, water molecules are in liquid state at normal temperature. When water is heated to 100 degrees Celsius, it becomes steam is needed, which is a gaseous state of matter. On reducing the temperature of the steam, it becomes water again. If you reduce the temperature further to 0 degrees Celsius, it becomes ice, which is a solid state of water is needed. Ice on heating, let us consider as ice cubes. The ice on heating, it becomes water again. So thus water changes its state when there is a change in temperature. So there are different such processes in the change of matter, the change of state in the matter. See the figure also. In the figure also it's given. This is taken as the ice is needed. This is taken as a ice cubes. It's a solid state. Now the temperature is the heat energy is applied. So what happens? The solid is heated. It's melted is needed. It's converted or it becomes the liquid state. And again we have to given the heat energy, the liquid becomes the gas. Yes or no? And again the heat energy is applied. And after that what? It becomes the solid substances also. So this is taken as a change of state. Okay. Now let us see what is melting and freezing. We are going to discuss what is melting, what is freezing, what is vaporization and what is condensation, what is sublimation and the depositions. That and all we are going to discuss separately. Okay, now let us move on to the melting and the freezing point. Already we know the melting and the freezing points also. The process in which a solid is converted to liquid. A solid is what? Converted to liquid by absorbing heat is called as what? Melting, or we have to call it as the fusion. So the process in which a solid is converted to liquid by absorbing heat is called what? Melting. By absorbing heat is called as what? Melting. It's an important term. Absorbing heat is called as what? Melting, or we have to call it as fusion. So the temperature at which a solid changes its state to liquid is called as melting point. Is called as what? Melting point. The temperature at which the solid state becomes the liquid state, this is called as what? Melting point. The reverse of the melting is called as what? Freezing is needed. So the process in which the liquid is converted to solid by releasing heat. This is absorbing heat energy. This is releasing the heat energy. This is called as what? Freezing. So what is melting? The solid is converted into the liquid by absorbing heat. This is called as the melting. What is freezing? The liquid is converted into the solid by releasing heat is called what? Freezing. The temperature at which the liquid changes its state to solid is called as freezing point. Is called as what? Freezing point. In the case of water, the melting and the boiling point occurs at the 0 degrees Celsius. The melting and the freezing points you have to obtain at the 0 degrees Celsius point. This is taken as what? Melting and freezing. Are you understand, children? So next we have to move on to the boiling and the condensation. The process in which the liquid is converted to vapor by absorbing heat is called boiling or vaporization. It's called as what? Boiling or vaporization. The process in which a liquid is converted to vapor by absorbing heat. Its important term is absorbing heat. The temperature at which the liquid changes its state to gas is called boiling point. What is boiling point? What is vaporization? The question will come like that. Okay. The process in which the vapor is converted to liquid by releasing heat is called condensation. Is called as what? Condensation. So the temperature at which the vapor changes its state to the liquid is called condensation point. This is called as what? Condensation point. So the boiling point and the condensation point at water is 100 degrees Celsius. It's called taken as what? 100 degrees Celsius. So next we have to move on to the sublimation. Some solids, for example, we have to consider say dry ice, iodine or frozen carbon dioxide or naphthalene balls, change directly from solid state to the gaseous state when the heat energy is applied, and afterwards it becomes solid to the gaseous state without becoming liquid. This is called as what? Sublimation. This is called as what? Sublimations. The process in which a solid is converted to the gaseous state is called sublimation. It's called as what? Sublimation. Are you understand, children? So see the diagram also. This is given, no? So freezing. So the first we have taken as the red colors we have to taken as what? This is indicates that here the heat is absorbed. The red colors we have to taken as what? A red color arrow mark indicates that the heat is absorbed, and the blue color line indicates that the heat energy is released or removal of the heat energy. So the liquid becomes solid, is needed, and gas becomes the solid. It's called as the depositions. Or in the solid is directly converted into the gas when the heat energy is applied is called as the sublimations. The best example we have to take as a camphor is needed. So it does not converted into the liquid state, it's directly converted into the gaseous state. So this process only is called as the sublimations. Are you understand, children? So next we have to move on to the various stages of conversion of state of matter by heat with a corresponding change in temperature. That is only is explained in this figure also. So the heat is acting along the x-axis, the temperature is taken as a y-axis. Now the solid, this is taken as a solid state. The heat energy is applied. It's converted into the what? The solid becomes the liquid. It's a melting process, isn't it? As a solid is converted into the liquid by absorbing the heat, this is called as the melting. And again we have to increases the heat energy, so it becomes the vaporing, or we have to call this what? Boiling, isn't it? So this is taken as a liquid state, this is the solid state, and this is taken as a gaseous state. So suppose the heat energy is removed from the gas, this is called as the condensing or in the condensation. The gas becomes the liquid. Again the liquid becomes the solid, this is called as the freezing, or the temperature is taken as a freezing point. Are you understand, children? So what and all we have discussed in this session, that is only we have to draw as a graphical format. Are you understand, children? I hope you understand now what and all we have discussed in this video. Thank you.
We are going to learn the compounds of carbon. It was first told to us by the scientist Berzelius. According to Berzelius, there are two kinds of compounds of carbon. They are organic carbon compounds and the other is inorganic carbon compounds. Berzelius classified the compounds of carbon into two types. One is called as organic carbon compounds organic carbon compounds, and the other type is inorganic carbon compounds. Inorganic carbon compounds. Carbon compounds. According to Berzelius, the organic carbon compounds are derived from living organisms. Living organisms. Like plants and animals. Plants and animals. Whereas the inorganic carbon compounds were derived from non-living things. Non-living things. Non-living things like rocks and minerals. Rocks and minerals. Some examples for organic carbon compounds are examples. Ethanol. Ethanol is an example for organic carbon compound. Ethanol, methanol, cellulose, starch, acetic acid. All these are examples for some of the examples for organic carbon compounds. Okay, children. Here similarly for inorganic carbon compounds we have some examples like calcium carbonate. Examples. Calcium carbonate, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, all these are some of the examples for inorganic carbon compounds. Okay, children? And in addition to these examples, you should have some more knowledge about organic and inorganic compounds of carbon. Okay. See, organic carbon compounds, they contain not only carbon in them, in addition to carbon, these organic compounds of carbon, they not only contain carbon but also they contain the elements like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, etc. in them. Some examples for organic compounds are organic compounds with carbon are aldehydes, ketones, alcohols, carboxylic acids, amino acids, ethers, esters, etc. Okay. Similarly, in the case of inorganic compounds of carbon, the inorganic compounds of carbon may be oxides. They may be oxides, carbonates, bicarbonates, sulfides, carbides, cyanides, etc. Okay, children? So these are some inorganic compounds of carbon and these are some organic compounds of carbon. Okay, so Berzelius, he classified the compounds of carbon into two types. They are organic carbon compounds and inorganic carbon compounds. According to Berzelius, organic carbon compounds were derived from the living organisms like plants and animals, whereas the inorganic carbon compounds were derived from the non-living things like rocks and minerals. Examples for organic carbon compounds are ethanol, methanol, see all, they end with all, so they are alcohols. Okay. Ethanol, methanol, cellulose, starch, acetic acid. Acetic acid is a carboxylic acid. It is a carboxylic acid. Okay, children? Organic carbon compounds, they not only contain carbon in them, in addition to carbon, they also have the heteroatoms, the other atoms like oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, and the compounds which have carbon and hydrogen in them, they are called as hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons. Okay. Some more examples for organic compounds of carbon are aldehydes, ketones, alcohols, carboxylic acids, amino acids, ethers, esters, amines. Like that we are having large number of organic compounds of carbon. Similarly, coming to inorganic compounds of carbon, we have some examples like calcium carbonate, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. And these may be classified on the basis of their compounds like oxides, carbonates, bicarbonates, sulfides, carbides, cyanides. So oxides, carbonates, bicarbonates, sulfides, cyanides, carbides are inorganic compounds of carbon. Okay, children? I hope you might have understood the introduction to the compounds of carbon. Thank you, children.